What do you do when you come to God and you don't seem to get a response? And then maybe you even try to be persistent in your faith, and what it seems like you're getting is just rejection. Now, this is where some people get their feelings hurt. Many will quit, they'll give up, and many will start to believe that God doesn't actually really care. But in Matthew 15, we have this woman who's not just an encouragement, but she's an example for you and I. She comes to Jesus pleading for his help. See, her daughter is suffering terribly, being attacked by a demon. And Jesus doesn't respond. He doesn't even acknowledge her presence. Right off of the bat, this is when so many would be offended. And the disciples go on and they start saying to Jesus, send her away. She's bothering us. She's a nuisance. It's an unfortunate reality that when you are suffering terribly, when you have a terrible burden, that it does often make others uncomfortable. They don't know how to respond, so it can feel very lonely. And Jesus does finally respond, but not in the way she really hoped. He responds by saying that I'm only been sent to God's people, in this case the Israelites. As a Gentile, she was an outsider. She was technically disqualified. What disqualifies you and I? That voice will always be there reminding us of our shortcomings, why we're not worthy, why we don't deserve anything that God has for us. But she doesn't buy into that. And she doesn't try to justify herself, to try to find reasons why she's worthy, but she takes the entirely opposite approach. And what does she do? She worships him, pleading for his mercy. And not worships him from the idea of singing and talking about how amazing he is. No, worshipped him from the standpoint of falling on her face at his feet. Rather than trying to justify herself, trying to find a way to explain what good she'd done, why she was worthy, she does the opposite. She humbles herself before him and pleads for his mercy. There's so many opportunities for her to just give up, to feel rejected, to become hard-hearted. And it gets harder because amazingly, unbelievably, Jesus responds by saying, it's not right to take what belongs to the children and give it to the dogs. And this is one of those hard things that so often causes us to struggle. But how does she respond? See, she's already humbled herself. Was it just one more step to stay the course and literally respond by saying, yes, but the dogs eat the crumbs that fall? She literally is saying, I will take the smallest crumb of blessing from you. Was this really what Jesus wanted to get to? Did he already know the extreme tenacity? Did he want her to be an example for us 2,000 years later? Was that struggle she went through meant to be simply a lesson for you and I? While she wouldn't have understood it at the time, we benefit all these years later. So Jesus finally responds by not just giving her what she'd been asking for, but he also responds by commending her amazing faith. That her persistence, her perseverance, in spite of every appearance of a setback or rejection, earned her an eternal reputation. See, the heroes of the faith learn to persevere. And the lesson for us is that we continue on, we continue to press in until we get the response, and that we're not easily offended.